There are different understandings of what genocide means in terms of the destruction of the gene, which is how it was defined by the United Nations. There had to be some intention to destroy the gene, okay? Which means, like with the Jews in the Holocaust, they actually killed them, mass killed them. And in Australia, for instance, they actually killed them. But in the case of Kashmir Pandits, there's been a little, a conversation around, well, does this actually technically comprise genocide? But that can only be understood in the bigger context of it's been 700 years. And I think at 1990, they were 3% of the population when they had been 100% of the population. So if you look at genocide as a structure, an ideology of elimination that happens over time, then this definitely can fall into that genetic genocide terminology. So it says that the government have, they've tacitly recognised that there was a genocide, but what they want is for the government to recognise it in a more comprehensive way, and to set up systems. They've got definitions here of what genocide means, and they want them to set up systems to prevent it from happening again. And the part that I was particularly interested in is the cultural genocide section. So, you know that Hinduism is a protected, yoga, and I think the Vedas as well, UNESCO protected intangible cultural heritage. So what we're talking about is intangible and tangible cultural heritage, and this needs to be protected by UNESCO. Because right now, just like with Indigenous Australians who were removed from their land, they can't participate in the rituals and the customs that they have been participating in for 5,000 years. They can't perform those rituals and those customs because they're specific to the place. So they have to go to a particular temple, they have to go to a particular river, they might go on a yatra to a particular place, and all of these are mapped into the overall culture of the people. Cultural genocide is likely within this generation. So, I mean, we're talking about a community who are carrying the knowledge of their grandparents. But those people who have that knowledge from their grandparents who grew up in Kashmir, they're aging. So those who will be able to teach their community, once they've been returned safely to the community, once those people, are passed away, how are they going to teach their community how to, revive their culture? It will be lost within 1 or 2 generations. They can't teach them how to perform their culture because they don't have access to the material that they need. It's impossible. Cultural genocide, and it happens rapidly because there's all this oral knowledge that's being passed down. So the majority of this hasn't even been recorded. Like, I think that there's people who are doing what they can to try and map this out and to try and teach and pass on these traditions, but it's limited. There's a very small community, especially when it comes to Kashmir Shaivism. There's a small community of people who can read the texts for a start, because a lot of them are in Sharada, and then you've got to have good knowledge of Sanskrit, and then you've got to know how to recite the Sanskrit. You've got to know how to perform the rituals. These people are aging. So that's my comment on the cultural genocide bill. They need to be able to go back safely. So the Punun Kashmir have got this Magdarshan where they want to have a separate area. And I've heard other theories. I don't really want to enter into that because I'm not a Kashmir Pandit, and I don't think it's up to someone like me to comment on how it manifests. I'm just saying that it has to happen. They have to be able to return, and they have to return safely, and there needs to be not just assurances. It has to be safe, not just promises. So how are they going to ensure, if they're not punishing the people who committed these acts, how is anybody going to have security and trust that they're going to punish them in the future?
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.